I lost it in my own daughter. She crossed a line that couldn't be explained away, fixed, or forgiven quietly. If you've ever had family turn into a threat, tell me in the comments how it started for you. The line moved at its usual pace at Phoenix Sky Harbor. Shoes off, belt in a bin, laptop out. Nothing about the morning suggested trouble. The boarding pass on my phone matched the calendar I'd kept for weeks. Gate C8, departure mid-morning. A simple trip. At the counter, the agent scanned the screen and paused. Fingers hovered over the keyboard longer than necessary. "Mr. Harrington," she said, "this ticket doesn't align with what's in the system." "That's the ticket I booked," came the reply. The phone stayed out, screen unlocked, waiting. She turned the monitor slightly. The date had shifted. The time didn't match. A new connection appeared shorter, lay over different route. None of it made sense. I didn't change anything I said. Her eyes flicked to another screen. The change was made through a family-linked account. "That's not possible." She nodded once, already flagging something. A second agent stepped closer. A third stood back and watched. "We're going to need a supervisor," she said. The supervisor asked for ID, then asked again if any changes had been requested by phone app or third party. "No." He checked the log. The modification was authenticated. Same last name. Same billing profile. That still wasn't me. A radio crackled. Security approached without urgency, which somehow made it worse. The supervisor explained the situation. The word "unauthorized" came up. Then verification. "Sir, we need you to step over here," one of the officers said. The secondary area wasn't dramatic. A few chairs, a desk, another screen. My phone was requested and placed face up. The officer asked for permission to review recent activity. Consent was given. There wasn't much to hide. A call came through before the screen locked. Emily's name lit up the display. The officer glanced at it. "We'll get to that." The call rang out. No voicemail left behind. The supervisor returned with new information. "The reissued ticket includes an added policy." "What kind of policy?" "Flight-related coverage. The amount is unusually high." "How high?" She gave the number without changing her tone. "That's not something I authorized." Another pause. Another look exchanged. Notes taken. They asked whether I wanted to proceed with the altered itinerary. I declined. They asked if I wanted to restore the original booking. That option no longer existed. The system won't allow a reversal without the account holder who made the change, the supervisor said. That wasn't me. "I understand." The officers stepped back. "At this point, you're free to go. The flight is canceled." The airline's customer service number routed me through 3 menus before a human voice picked up. I gave the confirmation code, spelled my last name, answered a security question that hadn't changed in years. "The modification was made yesterday evening," the agent said. "Authorized access. Family profile." "Send me the log," I said. "It'll be in your email within 10 minutes." The message arrived before the call ended. Timestamps. Device ID. Location. The name attached to the action sat there without apology. Emily Harrington. The agent kept talking, explaining policy refund limits the process to remove shared access. Half of it didn't register. The rest sounded rehearsed. When the call ended, the phone stayed in my hand while traffic slid past the curb. No message from Emily yet. That didn't last. A text came through as I pulled out of the airport lot. "Why didn't you board everything okay?" No question mark at the end. Just the words. I didn't reply. Scottsdale was less than half an hour away. The insurance office sat between a dental clinic and a coffee place, the kind of building designed to look temporary even after decades. A receptionist checked my ID and asked me to take a seat. A man in a gray shirt called my name. His badge read Daniel Ruiz. He didn't smile. He didn't rush. "We flagged a policy linked to your travel," he said. "Walking. This will be straightforward." A conference room waited at the end of the hall. Glass walls. A table. 2 chairs. Daniel set a folder down and opened it without ceremony. "Do you recognize this?" He slid a printout across the table. The policy number meant nothing. The dollar amount did. 6 million. The question came out flat. "Yes." "On a flight ticket. On you," Daniel said. The ticket was the trigger. He tapped the page. Term policy. Accidental death rider. Purchased electronically. Beneficiary listed as Emily Harrington. That wasn't my decision. I know. Another sheet followed. Signature block. Date. IP address. The signature looked like mine. It wasn't. "All personal details match your records," Daniel said. "Social address, employer history. Whoever filed had full access. That still doesn't make it right." "No," he said. "It makes it valid." The word hung there longer than it should have. "Is there a complaint?" I asked. "Not yet." "So it stands. For now." The receptionist knocked and stepped in with a tablet. Daniel nodded her away and closed the folder. "We see this sometimes," he said. "Usually with business partners, occasionally with spouses. Family happens less, but not never. What happens next? That depends on whether you contact the beneficiary." Silence followed. Daniel waited it out. "Don't," he added. "Not yet." A vibration crossed the table. Emily again. "Dad, call me when you can." Daniel glanced at the screen, and then back at me. "You haven't told her," he said. There wasn't time. "Good." He stood and walked to the glass wall, spoke briefly with someone outside, then returned. "This policy went live fast," he said. "Someone wanted coverage in place before something changed. What kind of something? Access," he said, "or consent." The phone buzzed again. "Are you mad?" Emily wrote. "I was just trying to help." Daniel watched the message appear without asking to see it. "People say that a lot," he said, "right before paperwork shows otherwise." He slid another document forward. "This explains your options. Contesting will trigger a review. Canceling requires the policyholder's request. That's me. On record," he said. "Yes." "Then do it." Daniel held up a finger. "After we talk." A pause settled between us. Not heavy, just deliberate. "Has anyone else been handling your accounts?" he asked. "No." "Vehicles. What about them? Anyone else drive yours?" "No." He nodded, made a note. "Here's what I'm going to suggest," Daniel said. "Before we move further, check your car. For what? Anything that shouldn't be there." That got my attention. "This isn't paranoia," he added. "It's process." The phone buzzed again. This time a call. Emily's name filled the screen. I turned it face down. Daniel pushed his chair back. "Do that now," he said. "Then call me." We stood. No handshake, no reassurance, just a business card placed near the folder. The call from Emily kept ringing while my hand moved along the underside of the rear bumper. I let it go. Fingers brushed metal dust, then something smooth that didn't belong there. I pulled back and leaned closer. A small black box clung to the frame with a magnet wires tucked tight, like they knew how to hide. The phone buzzed again. This time I answered. "Did you find it?" Daniel asked. "There's a device under the car." "Don't remove it yet," he said. "Can you send a photo?" I angled the phone, snapped 2 shots, and sent them. A few seconds passed. "That's a consumer GPS tracker," Daniel said. "Cheap. Sold everywhere. Hard to trace if it's been powered on too long. So someone's been watching where I go." "Yes." "And you're saying that calmly." "I'm saying it accurately," he replied. Where are you parked near the house? Drive to a garage you trust. Don't stop anywhere else. The call ended. I slid into the driver's seat and started the engine. The phone lit up again before I reached the street. Emily. I ignored it. The garage had known me for years. Oil changes, brake work, nothing dramatic. The owner, Mike, wiped his hands on a rag and glanced at the car as I pulled in. Need it lifted, I said. No paperwork. He raised an eyebrow. That kind of day. Something like that. The lift went up. Mike didn't ask questions when the tracker came into view. He held it between two fingers, careful not to smudge anything. Seen these before, he said. Usually spouses. Can you take it off without logging it? Yeah, he said. But you didn't hear that from me. He set it in a plastic bag and handed it over. You want it gone? Not yet. The phone vibrated again. Emily didn't leave voicemails. She preferred to talk. Dad, I'm just checking in, she said when I finally answered. You sound off? Plans changed, I said. Oh, I can help if you need anything. That won't be necessary. A pause followed. She waited for more. So when are you flying now? She asked. No date set. Well, let me know. I worry. Noted. The call ended without an argument. That bothered me more than if there'd been one. Daniel called back while I was still standing near the lift. Phoenix PD can take this, he said. I recommend it. I don't want a scene. You already have one, he said. You just don't see it yet. What's the window on that policy full effect in 48 hours? He said. After that, cancellation gets complicated. That's soon. Yes. I paid Mike in cash. No receipt changed hands. The tracker went into the glove compartment, sealed and untouched. Traffic felt heavier on the way back, though nothing had changed. Every stoplight stretched longer than usual. The phone stayed face down. Emily texted again. I told my friend you might need help rebooking. She knows a guy. I didn't answer. Daniel called once more, his tone tighter. I've started an internal report, he said. This crosses into criminal behavior. You think she knows that I think she thinks she's entitled? He said. That's different. A knock came at the door just as I hung up. It wasn't Emily. A neighbor wanted to borrow a ladder. Life didn't pause for anything else going on. After the neighbor left, I sat at the kitchen table and looked at the phone. Missed calls stacked up. Messages framed as concern. None asked where I was. None asked if I was safe. Daniel's number flashed again. PD wants to loop in, he said. They'll need access to your phone, when now is best. I picked up the keys and headed back out. The car ran fine. No warning lights, no signs of trouble. Just a new awareness that something had been riding along without permission. At the station, Daniel met me in the lobby. He nodded once and led me to a desk. An officer introduced himself, polite, efficient. Forms slid across the surface. Consent boxes checked. We'll take the device, the officer said. And the phone. I hesitated for half a second, then handed it over. Emily's name lit up the screen as it changed hands. Daniel glanced at it and then at me. Let it ring, he said. The call stopped. The phone stayed on the desk. Daniel turned it face down and pushed it toward the officer. We'll take it from here, he said. I leaned back in the chair, hands empty, while the officer logged the time and date and asked Daniel to step aside for the next part. The desk at Phoenix PD held a thin stack of forms and a recorder already running. An officer slid my phone across the surface and adjusted a setting I didn't recognize. This line will record automatically, he said. If she calls, don't end it. Daniel stood near the wall, arms crossed, watching the process, rather than me. Another officer asked about the ticket change, the shared access, the tracker. Dates were confirmed, times checked, answers stayed short. A vibration cut through the room. Emily's name appeared again. The officer lifted a hand. Let it ring once more, he said. Then answer. I picked up on the second buzz and put it on speaker. "Dad," she said. "I've been trying to reach you." "I'm here," I said. "Good." I was starting to worry. A pause followed, brief and practiced. "So what's going on with the trip canceled? That's inconvenient." Papers shuffled on the other end. "Did they say why system issue?" "Oh." She exhaled. "Okay. Listen, I talked to someone about coverage. They said delays can affect timelines. The officer wrote something down. What timelines, I asked. The payout, she said. I mean the processing. These things can take longer if flights change. No mention of where I was. No question about safety. No curiosity about the tracker or the police station. Just the word she'd been circling all day. The payout for what I asked. For the policy, she said quicker now. You know the one attached to the ticket? I didn't buy a policy. I know, she said. I handled it. It was easier that way." Daniel shifted his weight. The officer leaned closer to the recorder. "So when does it go through?" she asked. "I need to plan." "Plan for what I asked." "For when it clears," she said. "They told me there's usually a window." Silence stretched on the line. She didn't fill it. "The officer here wants to know who you spoke with," I said. A beat passed. "What officer?" Another note landed on the page. "Where are you calling from?" I asked. "At home," she said. "Why? And you're not concerned you couldn't reach me all morning? I figured you were flying," she said. "That's why I'm asking about the money." The officer clicked the pen shut. Daniel met my eyes and gave a small nod. "That's all I said?" "Wait," she said. "Did something happen? I'll be in touch," I said, and the officer cut the line. The room stayed still for a moment. Then the officer reached for the phone and powered it down. "We've got what we need," he said. "This is sufficient to open a case." Another officer entered, introduced himself, and explained next steps without embellishment. Charges were named, procedures outlined. The words came out clean and administrative. "You'll want to avoid contact," he said. "Any communication should go through counsel." Daniel placed his hand on the table. "We'll handle coordination," he said. "Insurance side is locked down." A printer hummed. A copy of the report slid out. My name sat at the top. Emily's appeared twice, spelled correctly. "Sign here," the officer said. The pen moved. Ink dried. "We'll retain the phone," he added. "Temporary. How long depends." The recorder clicked off. Chairs shifted. Someone offered water. It was declined. At the front desk, another form changed hands. A receipt listed items in custody. Phone, tracker, time, and date. Outside, the parking lot spread wider than expected. Cars moved in and out without urgency. A family crossed toward the entrance, arguing about where they'd parked. Daniel walked with me to the curb. "She didn't ask if you were okay," he said. "No. That matters. I know." He handed me a card with a different number this time. "Call if anything changes," he said. "Or if she tries another route." Another route. "People don't like being told no by a system," he said. "They look for gaps." A patrol car rolled past. The door closed behind us with a soft thud. Daniel checked his watch. "I have to file an update," he said. "We'll talk later." Contact stopped being personal. Calls routed through my attorney. Messages filtered by case number. Even Daniel stopped using his cell, switching to a line that logged everything automatically. It felt less like silence and more like compression, the kind that happens before something gives. Phoenix PD moved fast once the call was logged. An officer walked me through the expanded scope without softening it. "We're pulling purchase records on the tracker," he said. "Online retailers, payment methods, delivery addresses." Another detective joined with a laptop already open. "Account access." Next, she said. Insurance portals, IP history, device fingerprints, dates stacked up on a whiteboard. Time circled, lines drawn between places I'd been and places I hadn't. Daniel called later that afternoon. You're still within the contest window, he said. 36 hours before the policy locks. And if it locks, then unwinding it gets slower, he said. And louder. A document hit my inbox minutes later, flagged urgent by my lawyer. Options listed in plain language. Cancel now. Contest now. Wait and see was not offered. The police wanted more than forms. They needed context. Why did she have access, one of them asked during the next interview. Passwords, accounts, travel. It was easier, I said. For who, for everyone, I said, then stopped. That answer didn't hold up well under the next question. Did you ever revoke it? No. Did she ask for more control over time? Yes. And you agreed? Yes. The officer nodded, not in judgment, just in sequence. Answers recorded. No commentary added. My lawyer cut in. That's sufficient, she said. We'll supplement in writing. The calls from Emily's side of the family started that evening. A cousin I hadn't spoken to in years left a message. Families handle things privately, she said. This doesn't need police. An aunt followed with the same tone, different words. You don't want this on her record, she said. She's young. Another message came in through my lawyer's office. Can we talk this out, someone asked. Just the adults. No one asked what had already happened. No one mentioned the tracker, the policy, the call. Daniel checked in again before the day ended. They found the purchase, he said. Credit card, online order, shipped to an address near hers. So it's clear. It's clearer, he said. Clear takes time. Sleep didn't show up. Paperwork did. Forms to authorize deeper access. Requests to release records going back years. A question from my attorney landed harder than the rest. Do you want this fully pursued? What's the alternative civil resolution? She said. Withdrawal, sealed agreements, and criminal unrestricted investigation. The decision sat there while emails stacked up. I looked at the authorization page again. My name at the bottom. One signature. A detective returned with another question, phrased carefully. Has this kind of boundary issue happened before I thought about the small things? Access given without being asked. Decisions made on my behalf because it was faster that way. Travel booked, passwords shared, arguments avoided by letting them pass. It didn't feel like an issue at the time, I said. That's why it lasted. The detective wrote that down. Daniel called once more. Clock's still running, he said, and insurance doesn't pause for family dynamics. My lawyer waited on the line, too. This doesn't end quietly, she said. Once it's formal, it's formal. The house felt unchanged. Mail still arrived. A neighbor waved while walking past the driveway. Dinner heated and cooled without being touched. I opened the authorization document again and scrolled to the end. The language was plain. No drama, just permission. The pen felt heavier than it should have. Not because of doubt, because of finality. I wanted unrestricted, I said. My lawyer didn't argue. She sent the confirmation. The next morning, Phoenix PD acknowledged receipt. Investigation proceeds without limitation, the email read. Daniel followed with a shorter message. Received. We're moving. Daniel didn't call right away. An email came first, marked time sensitive, followed by a request to meet at his office, rather than talk by phone. That alone told me the tone had shifted. He laid the documents out in a clean stack, not dramatic, not rushed. She contacted the insurer 5 times, he said. Before the ticket change. Before the tracker. A printout slid across the table. Email headers, dates, subject lines that tried too hard to sound casual. One line stayed visible longer than the rest. Early payout procedures in case of accidental death. Another message followed, sent 2 days later. High-risk flight schedules and coverage windows. Daniel didn't add commentary. He didn't need to. These weren't automated replies, he said. She spoke with an agent, asked specific questions, follow-ups, clarifications. So this wasn't impulse, I said. No, he replied. This was preparation. Phoenix PD reached the same conclusion within hours. The language changed in their updates. Pattern, intent, pre-incident activity. A detective called later that afternoon. "We're upgrading the case," she said. "This now qualifies as potential criminal fraud with indicators of premeditation." "What does that change?" I asked. "Everything," she said. "And nothing you control." Emily was formally summoned the next morning. I didn't attend. My lawyer advised against it, and the police didn't object. Her attorney contacted mine within an hour of the notice going out. "He wants the full file," my lawyer said. "Claims procedural issues." "Denied?" I asked. "For now," she said. "But they'll push." Media attention followed faster than expected. A local outlet called the firm asking for comment about a disputed multi-million-dollar policy involving family members. My lawyer declined on record. A neighbor mentioned seeing a news van down the street. That turned out to be speculation, but the sense of exposure stuck. Another call came from the detective. "There's a new concern," she said. "Consent." "Consent?" I asked. "If they argue you knew," she said, "or benefited in any way, it muddies intent. What do you need from me?" "Written confirmation," she said. "Signed, dated, explicit." The document arrived an hour later. Simple language, no legal flourish. "I, Michael Harrington, did not authorize, request, or consent to the purchase of any life insurance policy associated with my travel or otherwise." The pen hovered longer than expected. Not because the statement wasn't true, because it closed the door on any version of this that could be reframed as a misunderstanding. Daniel watched while the signature dried. "This removes ambiguity," he said. "It also removes flexibility." Emily's attorney tried a different angle that afternoon. A letter arrived suggesting mediation, framing the issue as a family miscommunication amplified by stress. Phoenix PD declined. "This is beyond that," the detective said. "The record speaks for itself." Another update followed before evening. "The emails are archived," she said. "The call logs, too." She asked about payout timing again after the policy went live. After I said, "Yes." No question followed. There wasn't one left to ask. Dinner sat untouched again. My lawyer called once more. "Once the classification changes," she said, "there's no quiet exit." "I understand." "She may try to contact you indirectly," she added. "Through friends, family, anyone willing. She won't reach me. That's not entirely up to you," she said. The next morning, a subpoena confirmation arrived. Not addressed to me, but copied for awareness. Emily's name appeared where mine had been on so many forms before. Daniel sent a final message that day. Case status upgraded, it read. Criminal investigation active. The house stayed steady. Same mail. Same routine. Nothing on the surface acknowledged what had just become permanent. I signed the last acknowledgement form, scanned it, and sent it back. The printer clicked once, then stopped. The folder with the case number grew thicker. I placed the new pages on top without rearranging anything. A notification chimed from my lawyer's office. "They're proceeding," the message said. I closed the laptop, stood up, and reached for the keys, already knowing there would be no version of this that ended with a conversation across a table. The estate attorney didn't waste time with sympathy. She spread the documents across the table and asked one question. "Are you ready to make the changes permanent?" "Yes." That answer set the pace. Forms moved from left to right. My name appeared often. Emily's appeared once, then not at all. Removal from beneficiary status, the attorney said, tapping a paragraph. Immediate effect. Another page followed. Financial access, she continued. Accounts, permissions, digital authorizations. A signature closed each section. No speeches, no pauses for reflection. By noon, access points were sealed. Banking alerts confirmed the changes within minutes. Password resets followed. Trusted contacts removed. Emergency permissions revoked. The phone rang twice during the process. Both calls came from relatives. Neither made it past the receptionist. Daniel checked in by email while the attorney finalized filings. Evidence chain is complete, he wrote. Call logs, tracker, insurance records, payment trail. A second message arrived 10 minutes later. Charges filed this morning. That one line carried more weight than anything else that day. Phoenix PD confirmed shortly after. Emily Harrington has been charged, the detective said. Insurance fraud, invasion of privacy. What happens now, the attorney asked, already writing. Initial appearance scheduled, the detective said. Bond hearing to follow. The call ended without commentary. Family pressure returned in waves once the charges became public. An uncle tried through my lawyer. She made a mistake, he said. You don't ruin family over paperwork. A cousin followed. Think about the future, she said. This stays on her record. The attorney answered both calls with the same response. All communication goes through this office. No one argued with her. They just tried someone else. Insurance notifications rolled in before the day ended. Policy terminated. Coverage voided. No payout pending. A short message from the insurer confirmed cooperation with authorities. Another alert followed from the bank. Account activity restricted due to investigation. The system moved faster once it had permission. Daniel called that evening. She didn't deny it, he said. She reframed it. How I asked. As concern, he said. Preparation. Planning for emergencies. And the tracker. She said it was for safety. The explanation didn't survive the records. Her attorney is pushing for leniency, Daniel added. Family context. No prior charges. That's not my call. No, he said. It isn't. Court documents arrived by email the next morning. Dates, case number, department assignment. Everything lined up with procedural precision. The attorney flagged one page. Hearing set, she said. You're not required to attend. I know. Do you want to know? That surprised her. She nodded and made a note. More calls came in. Fewer voices this time, shorter messages. The tone shifted from persuasion to caution. This is getting serious, one said. You can still slow it down. The attorney forwarded the message without comment. By midweek, the trust amendment was complete. Copies sent, originals filed. Emily's name no longer appeared anywhere that mattered. A final confirmation arrived from the bank. Access fully revoked. The phone stayed silent after that. No more attempts, no indirect messages. Daniel sent one last update. Bond hearing scheduled, he wrote. Evidence accepted. A follow-up arrived an hour later. Trial date pending. I placed the phone on the counter and left it there. The attorney gathered her files and stood. We're done for today, she said. I'll notify you of any developments. Outside the parking lot, filled and emptied at its usual pace, a delivery truck reversed too close to a sedan. Someone honked. Someone waved it off. The calendar on my dashboard still showed the original travel dates. I erased them and wrote nothing in their place. Later that afternoon, the clerk's office sent confirmation. Court date set, the email read. I printed the notice, folded it once, and set it beside the others. The folder no longer felt temporary, just complete enough to hold what it needed. Dinner waited again. This time it didn't cool untouched. A plate went into the microwave. The timer beeped. I sat down while it spun, already aware that nothing else needed my input until the next scheduled step arrived. The courthouse updates came through my lawyer first. Emily's name appeared in a public record where it hadn't belonged before. Charges listed, Status pending. No commentary attached, just facts arranged by date and code. Her access was already gone. So was the trust position. Nothing left to negotiate. A call from my attorney came midweek. "They've entered it into the system," she said. "Criminal record is active. Any changes on our end?" "No," she said. "You're done." There was no meeting with Emily. No request passed through counsel. No apology arrived by letter or proxy. Family members who had spoken loudly before went silent once the consequences stopped being theoretical. The last document waited on the conference table at the estate office. A single page. No revisions, no margin notes. "This confirms the amendment," the attorney said. "Final and binding." The pen moved without hesitation. The ink settled. The folder closed. "That's it," she said. "You won't need to come back." Consulting work resumed the following Monday. Same clients, same scope. A site review in the morning, a report in the afternoon. Nobody asked questions. The work didn't care what had happened. A calendar reminder popped up later that day. The climbing course I'd bookmarked months earlier still had open slots. Out of state. 2 days. No special preparation. Registration took less than 5 minutes. Payment processed. Confirmation received. The next call came from Daniel, brief as always. "Case is proceeding," he said. "No action needed from you." "Understood." He paused before hanging up. "You handled this clean," he added. "Most people don't." "I didn't do anything I said." "You stepped out of the way," he replied. The lawyer's office sent a final email later that afternoon. "All matters closed on our end. No attachments, no follow-ups." I cleared the desk that evening. The case folder went into a box with old tax records and manuals I no longer used. It didn't need to stay close. Dinner was simple. Dishes washed. Counter wiped. The routine held. A neighbor waved while taking out the trash. Another asked if I'd be gone over the weekend. "Couple days," I said. "Nice," he replied. "Get some air." Packing took longer than expected, mostly because it hadn't been done in a while. Boots pulled from the back of the closet. Jacket checked for wear. Everything still fit. The last stop before leaving was the attorney's office. One signature to acknowledge receipt of final notices. Nothing else waiting. She walked me to the door. "If anything comes up," she said, "we'll reach out." "If not," I said. She nodded. If not. Outside the parking lot was half full. Someone argued with a meter. A courier jogged past holding an envelope. The car unlocked on the first try. No papers came along. No phone calls made. The engine started without hesitation. Traffic moved steadily toward the freeway. Signs pointed east, then north. I followed them without checking the time. The confirmation email sat unread. There was no rush. At the edge of town, a billboard advertised flights to places I wasn't going. The road stretched on without interruption. Nothing needed to be explained. No statement prepared. No lessons offered. The wheel stayed steady as the city dropped behind me and the weekend opened up without requiring anything more.